what's up, my dude?
Brother.
You know, same old. Different team.
How you doing?
It's kind of funny that Team Sweden's playing like the Canucks, eh?
It's almost not even fair out there. It's not even like they're playing like the Canucks. They just don't even have a chance to touch the freaking puck.
I was like, you look at like Nylander, right? Like taking that penalty right off the bat. You're like, oh, well, we just got scored on.
Yeah. Like in the power play, like, oh my God, like don't blink.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the ups and downs then, because we'll start there.
Not a lot of downs.
No.
Did you see downs? Did you see any downs in that period? Because I didn't. I mean, basically they lost to the face-off percentage, like whoop-de-doo.
Yep. They got hit by one hit.
Yeah, but a lot more bite to this tournament than I thought there was going to be. A little more physical. Definitely some shoving going on. Darlene and McDavid getting into it a bit in the corner. I like to see that. More intense hockey than I was expecting. After that period, I'm a little more excited about this tournament.
Yeah, I think these boys are going to take it pretty seriously because a lot of these guys, like that's Crosby sitting at McKinnon, friends forever, and they've never played a best on best tournament together. So it's the first time ever. And very first period, very first shot, it's Crosby setting up McKinnon, and that's got the juices flowing amongst all the boys out there.
Well, and McDavid as well, who's been dying to put on the Canadian uniform at this level, right? Like he is, because they skipped the Olympics the last time. He didn't get that chance, so this is his first opportunity to play kind of with all these guys as well. So you can see how he's just flying out there, making moves all over the place, setting up guys. So as this team starts to gel more, it's only going to get more dangerous, even in this short 3-game tournament.
I mean, even the setup for the second goal was just like, it's just that turnover right at the Canadian blue line that they immediately turn it right back up, pass, and suddenly it's a 2-on-1, and Sweden's just caught with their pants down. Gustafsson didn't even react to the shot or the pass across the crease, and it was another empty net for Brad Marchand. Hilarious moment for him scoring in Montreal.
And getting cheered.
Well, did you see when he first touched the puck, he did get some boos?
But, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's hockey, right? Like, you have to give it to him a little bit. But then at the end of the day, I mean, like we had said, anytime the maple leaf goes on the chest, everything changes in an instant. It doesn't matter who they play for. Any other day, right now, they're playing for Canada, so it's easy to cheer for those guys. As you can see, lots of speed on Team Canada. Every single defenseman can help break the puck out of the zone, can contribute in the offensive zone by either holding the puck in or getting involved in the cycle. I mean, it was looking like Sweden might not ever get a shot on net there in that period. So just really good stuff all around. I mean, you look at the team that's out there, and it's all the best players, right? So it just shows you how elite Canada has been and continues to be at the international level.
I think it's the thing with Canada is it's that top end talent, right? Like there is nobody as fast as McKinnon and McDavid at handling the puck at speed. Like if you have two of those guys, right? Like you'd have a hard time having those guys have a foot race with the puck handling contest and finding out who's better because they're both such high level. And when you have a guy you can put on both lines, there's no way teams can stop that speed.
Yeah, no, like both of them have the puck on a string. And then you get Crosby out there as well, who can stick handle in a phone booth with the best of them. It's unreal, the control that Canada has in all their players. Like every single one of them can go one-on-one with any player in the league.
Yeah, I can't imagine how happy McKinnon and Crosby are right now because obviously, like I said, they've been looking forward to playing together. Then you look at some of the other guys, even like it was Point, who obviously made a beautiful pass over to Marchand, but then Seth Jarvis is probably one of the most under talked about players on this team, but also gets an assist on that second goal. What did you like about Seth Jarvis's game so far tonight?
Oh, just doing what Seth Jarvis has been doing all year. He just finds ways to contribute. That play seemed so simple, but it was really smart to just chip it out to the center to get it to point, and get it off the boards, and it led to a goal. And I mean, if Canada takes a penalty, I'm sure we'll see him on the penalty kill because he's been a huge part of Carolina's penalty kill. I think he's up to 4 shorthanded goals on the season now, 3 or 4. So just really good stuff out of him as well. And I mean, when your checking line has what, like 45 goals combined on the on the checking line, you're pretty deep.
So they did a really good thing for us by helping us out with the second topic, because I wanted to talk to you. Is that top power play unit for Canada? Is that the best power play unit ever? Like, just flat out.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be a goalie against them. The 5 best man advantage for sure. Any Canadian national team has ever seen. Like, there's no question. You got McKinnon, McDavid, Crosby, Reinhart, and Makar. And even Reinhart feels like the odd man out. It's just until the last 2 years that he really started to like become an elite player. Like, he's the one who's kind of like just kind of out there. The other 4 are going to skate around him. It's kind of funny when you think about it, but I mean, it's a huge advantage when you have McKinnon and Makar who play power play 1 all the time together in Colorado, and so they can basically run your power play, and everyone else just has to be open. And you got Crosby and McDavid out there who can stick handle as well, like you were saying, as well as the best in the league. So it's hard to play devil's advocate and say like, oh, they might be looking for too perfect of a play, but that's what they do. So, it's really difficult to argue that there's ever been a better power play or will ever be a better power play. I mean, I guess when you get like Bedard and Celebrini out there with McDavid and McKinnon, as Crosby goes up by the wayside, that's going to be pretty lethal at the national level. But for right now, this is unreal.
I think the only one that I could maybe think about would maybe back with one of the Canada Cups when you had like a Gretzky and a Mario Lemieux. I think that's the only time he might come close to it. But even the supporting players are probably not at the level that McKinnon and Crosby and McDavid are getting anyways.
Yeah, like the 0-2 Salt Lake team was probably on the level of this type of elite talent.
Yeah. And we're going to learn about the 2002. Thanks for bringing that up. That'll be our second intermission, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite songs is the one Paul Brandt did about that team.
About the American team?
No, the Canadian team.
Okay.
Again, Lasakic and Lemieux and all those boys.
Yeah, I've never heard that song. I'll have to check it out. Were you a little worried because today it came out, they're starting Binnington, and he is essentially the man moving forward. He's also a crazy man, so you never know quite what you're going to get from him. Obviously, he didn't get much work so far in the game with only 3 shots against. But are you fine with whoever? Like, it doesn't really matter, or are you a little concerned they have Binnington as the starter?
But I mean, if you see the play that they trot out there, it's not really going to matter until you play against a team like USA. So, realistically, it doesn't matter. Obviously, everyone has talked about how Team Canada isn't the best in net right now in this generation. And it really was going to come down to who was playing the best coming into the tournament. And really, all 3 of them that made the team weren't really playing well. Arguably, Logan Thompson, Darcy Kemper, and Mackenzie Blackwood should be the goalies on this team if you were going by save percentage right now for, over 15 games played in the season. But I guess, Binnington has the Stanley Cup. Aiden Hill has the Stanley Cup. So it's tough to like pick who you go with. But I guess Binnington was the starter who won the Stanley Cup. So you go with him for experience wise. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter if you got the team playing the type of hockey they're playing in front of them.
True. I mean, I think what they were saying in the pregame show too is Canada, obviously Aiden Hill winning the Stanley Cup with Vegas as well. Canada's the only team that has 2 Stanley Cup winning goalies, despite the fact that everyone's saying that we have the worst goaltending in the tournament. Which, I mean, on paper, it's true, right? This year, you look at statistically, they do. But I guess at the end of the day, when you have the Ferrari that is Team Canada playing in front of you, you're not going to face a lot of high quality chances anyways.
Exactly. So, at this level, even mediocre goaltending will do for Canada.
So I wanted to ask you about another Olympics. It was the 2010 Olympics, because obviously first time we played international hockey in a long time, best on best. We all remember Sidney Crosby's golden goal. I had some pictures in the pregame video. So I wanted you to relive the moment and tell us a little bit about how the experience of watching Crosby win it and the 2010 Olympics in general went for you.
Yeah. So I kind of took it as a once in a lifetime experience to kind of get the Olympic experience during 2010. So I spent a lot of time downtown in the city at the free events like Robson Square and different watch parties and things. So for that game, I was in Robson Square at the big watch party, just crammed in like sardines, shoulder to shoulder, watching the screen. During the intermissions, little things were happening, like the Canadian curling team. Kevin Martin and his crew had just won gold, so they came out on stage to kind of hype up the crowd a bit, like they needed hyping up after like watching the gold medal game. We're all out there on pins and needles. I remember USA tying it up late, and you could hear a pin drop, just hundreds of people, and it's almost silent. And then watching in overtime, it's like everyone's holding their breath. Every hit, every bobbled puck, everything. It's like you can hear the gasps, you can hear almost people's heartbeats in that moment. And then when Crosby scored and that crowd erupted, it was one of the craziest experiences of my life. I don't think I've ever had goosebumps that big. To be in a crowd of that many people, all incredibly jubilant and celebrating the same thing, was one of the coolest experiences I think I will ever have in my lifetime. And then as the crowd just kind of moved towards Granville Street, and it just turned into this wall to wall sea of red and white and Canada jerseys everywhere, and people singing "Oh Canada" at the top of their lungs and cheering and hugging total strangers. It was just the coolest display of patriotism ever, and I will never ever forget that experience. And just I am so happy that I spent the time down there, and I will remember it for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I still love to see that video of downtown leading up to the goal, right? Where it's just like dead silent. You can hear the crowd noise of Vancouver as the entire city erupts when Sidney Crosby scores. So you were part of that cheer. So technically I heard you when I watched that video.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Like it was so cool to be there.
Iggy!
Iggy to Crosby, and they were probably the only two who knew it went in for half a second there.
Yeah, yeah. Future Canuck Ryan Miller getting scored on and facing current Vancouver Canuck Roberto Luongo.
Well, and then Crosby throwing the glove over the glass by accident, and then having to try and find it to get it back because it needed to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame and all that stuff. So it's just, I just remember the chaos and aftermath of it all.
Oh, it's so funny. Okay, let's quickly jump back over. This is normally a Canucks channel. So let's quickly recap, because there was the end of the Saturday game for the Abbey Canucks against the Colorado Eagles, and then they played again on Tuesday. So you give me a quick recap on those?
Yes. So the end of the Colorado Eagles game, not great. It was pretty much all Colorado. Abbotsford kind of ran out of steam. They ended up dropping that one 6-3. So not their best effort on the road there, but they did come home and have a game against the San Diego Gulls last night. And they did manage to get the 3-2 victory.
with a bunch of
there was no scoring in the first period. The second period, it was kind of trade goals back and forth. So the goals got one early. It was kind of like a scramble play in front of Sheelov's, and Sheelov's kind of dove out into the pile and essentially took himself out of the play. When it squirted free, it was a wide open net for San Diego to bury. But Linus Karlsson would answer shortly after with a beautiful wraparound goal that banked in off of a goal defender. And then probably another goal Sheelov's want back, just a little wrister off the boards, beat him on the blocker side as well. But then late in the period, less than a minute after, Abby was able to answer. And Arshdeep Bains, with an incredibly patient play, cutting across the middle, taking two defenders with him and the goalie, and then finding a wide open Atu Ratu right in front of the net for a tap in. Just a beautiful assist. And then going into the third period, no real action until about halfway through. Niels Oman threw one on net towards Linus Karlsson, who tipped one in to get his second to the game. And that would be the winner. He would be your first star with his 2 goals. And then Sam Colangelo of the San Diego Gulls, he also had 2 goals. So a good victory there for the Abbey Canucks, and they'll be back in action tonight against the Gulls at 7:00.
Nice. Cool. We'll update that once we get to the post-game show.
Sounds good.
Cool. Enjoy the second and third period, brother.
You as well.
Nothing is perfect.